Welcome to the Dr. Janine Show. I'm Dr. Janine Bowring, naturopathic doctor. So glad that you're all here with me today. This is exciting. So we are going live on Instagram today, as well as, of course, we're on TikTok. So hello to all my TikTok friends. We are on Facebook and YouTube Live, so streaming on all platforms. This is so fun. And today is a really important topic. So we're going to be talking today about psoriasis, but also Candida and some of the causative factors, some of the things that you haven't heard about these conditions and what you can do naturally. And that's the important thing. There are a lot of things that you can do naturally. And, you may have some symptoms that are related to psoriasis and Candida that you didn't know were related to what's going on deeper inside the body, especially when we talk about the microbiome. And that's why the practical tips that I'll be sharing today are going to be really helpful for you. So welcome in, everyone. Again, this is the Dr. Janine Show. If you're new here, make sure that you're subscribed to my channel on YouTube as well as on TikTok. Make sure that you're following me and on Instagram as well. It's great to see all of you here. And stay tuned right to the end because we have a fantastic trivia. So yes, it will be quiz time today towards the end of the show, which is really fun. And today it's exciting because we actually will be putting you into potentially win from our sponsors, alleviate, which is really important to help. And I'll elaborate more on what this actually does throughout the show today. But our generous sponsors at VitaTree have given this as our prize. So a lucky winner. And again, whenever you're participating in the show, we want you to do your best. So whether it's, answering the quiz questions correctly or not, it doesn't matter. You're still entered to win one of our prizes. So it's great to have you all here, and let's get right to it. So let's talk about Candida and how to treat Candida. I'm going to give you 8 natural tips on how to deal with this. And, it's important that, again, we're addressing things from the natural perspective. So what people don't realize is that our gut has 100 trillion bugs, and we have about 10,000 species of different types of bugs in our body. And we actually have more bugs than we do human cells. And it's a 10-fold increase. So we have 10 times more bugs and organisms in our body than we actually have human cells, which a lot of people don't realize. And that's, the importance of the microbiome and getting healthy is really, in terms of mainstream medicine, that's definitely the focus of what a lot of researchers are looking at now. And, where there wasn't always the emphasis at looking at the microbiome, and we have a skin microbiome, we have a gut microbiome, and a nasal microbiome, so different microbiomes on different parts of our body. And I'm happy to know that, a lot of research is going now into the microbiome and how we can alter it in a positive way to help us. And when we talk about today's subjects about Candida and psoriasis, it's important that we're able to do that and to find that happy balance of those good versus those bad organisms. So now one of the things about Candida is that this is a yeast, and normally we do have Candida, but it can turn into a more invasive form. And when it turns into this hyphal form, as it's called, this is when it becomes a problem and it becomes more invasive and can cause a lot of the symptoms, which I'm going to share with you, of this Candida overgrowth. And one of the things that Candida does is it protects itself. So it, has its own way of creating something called a biofilm. And it's like a mucousy layer that protects itself from our immune system, from, when our cells in our body are supposed to be attacking this Candida. When it becomes this more invasive form, this is when we can run into the difficulties, and it's linked to different health conditions. And that's why it's so important and why I wanted to discuss Candida. I had a ton of questions, coming in on TikTok as well as on YouTube about Candida and what to do about it naturally. And certainly there's a lot of different approaches out there dealing with Candida. Some people say that Candida doesn't even exist. Of course, I disagree with that, and I think we have to do something naturally about it. The other thing that's interesting about Candida is that it actually emits toxins, and it can emit over 70 different toxins into our body. And this is often some of the symptoms, not feeling well, having low energy can be related to this Candida issue. One of those toxins is called acetaldehyde, and that's why some of the symptoms, I'm going to elaborate on that and how that is very interesting, as well as gliotoxin. And gliotoxin is something that can actually kill our liver cells, and we know how important it is to have a healthy liver, for our detoxification, but also for our overall health and our energy levels. So we're going to dive right in now to some of the causes of Candida. So let me just say a few hellos to whoever's tuning in here really quickly. Hello, Linda. Hello, Mort. Hello, More Than a Conqueror. Nice to see you. More Than a Conqueror. We will be talking bowel movements next week, I promise. So we will get to that for sure. Hello, Miranda. Hello, Frederick. Hello. It's Thea. I think it's Thea. Yes, thank you. Nice to see you all. Great to have you here. So stay tuned because we have our trivia coming up and you'll have a chance to win. Okay, so some of the causes of Candida would include in the diet if you're overdoing it with the sweets. So with sugar, especially refined sugar, this can be a big problem when we talk about, because the thing with Candida is you start eating the sweets and the Candida loves and thrives off of that sugar, so it makes you crave more and more, and this is why then the Candida multiplies and can become that more fungal form, the more invasive form. So yes, that could be one of the causes. Another one that is notorious is antibiotics. So if you've ever taken a round of antibiotics, even if it was 5 years ago, this could have set you up for a Candida infection. And, you know, really important, yes, we do need antibiotics, but there are some natural antibiotics as well. Sometimes these are the things that I talk about when we're talking about other subjects. So that's important to know. Not that I'm saying to avoid these things, but, you know, when you need them, but staying healthy. And this is always my goal, is to stay healthy and have the immune system healthy so that you don't have to go that route. As well as birth control pills. So this is notorious. Any woman who's been, you know, pregnant before, you know that when your estrogen and your progesterone levels are on the rise, this can be a cause for some yeast infections and some Candida issues during pregnancy. Well, the same is true for the synthetic hormones and birth control pills. This also can increase your risk for Candida. As well as stress. So stress is not usually our friend, and yes, we all have stress, but how you're dealing with your stress makes a big difference in how well your body can deal with things like Candida as well. So of course, decreasing stress is very important. Also mercury fillings. So heavy metal toxicity is very much linked to Candida. And this is something that, you know, if you've had the mercury fillings, so the dark fillings in the mouth, that can be one of the causes of chronic Candida issues as well. And other heavy metal toxins, so from pollution. So when we think about, you know, aluminum, we think about mercury in the environment and all of those other, you know, toxins that can be in the environment. This can be from the pollution, can also be a causative factor for that Candida. Hand sanitizer. So here's the big thing. Now the problem with hand sanitizer, especially if it is a synthetic, you know, hand sanitizer, run-of-the-mill hand sanitizer, this is wiping out some of your good flora. And my prediction, unfortunately, you know, in the coming years now, is that we're going to see an increase of autoimmune disorders because the use of hand sanitizer is just through the roof and has been for the last year for obvious reasons. And, you know, because that's now having a negative impact on our microbiome, wiping away our good flora, which we need, this can be a causative factor again for Candida issues as well. So what do we do in these cases? Well, I tend to, you know, try not to use it as much as what it's always offered to me if I go to get my groceries and things, and I certainly have my own more natural one that I feel better about using personally. And mold toxins. So mold toxins in your environment can also be a causative factor for Candida. So if you've ever sprung a leak in your home, you know, your plumbing has gone awry and you've had some leaking issues, then this is something definitely to look into and get an expert to evaluate if you have some mold exposure that you're not even aware of. You don't necessarily see it. It's oftentimes microscopic, so that's really important as well. So let's talk now about some of the symptoms of Candida. So the top one is probably fatigue and just lack of that vital energy, as well as if you're craving sweets all the time. This is important, again, to know that maybe it's not so much your poor willpower. It could be because you have Candida, and the Candida actually thrives off of the these sweets, and that's why you're craving them. As well as a craving for alcohol, so partly that's because of the yeast, but also the sugar and alcohol, and brain fog. So your brain just has a difficulty connecting and making those proper connections. That can also be related to Candida. Chronic infections, so urinary tract infections and yeast infections, again, can be related to a Candida issue. Bad breath. So if you or someone that you know or someone dear and close to your heart has bad breath, it could be a Candida issue. And again, this fungal form of the Candida overgrowth. Allergies. So this could be seasonal allergies. It could be allergies to dust mites, to, things in your environment can also be related to that Candida, as well as chronic sinus infections. So with sinus infections, the problem is, and because think of yeast thrives in a dark, moist place. And think of your sinuses. So you have two sets of sinuses. So some are right here, and then the other ones are here. And those are dark, moist caverns that are notorious for, if there's not the proper balance of those organisms there, can be, again, a Candida issue. As well as a white coating on the tongue. So if you have this white coating, which we can see here for the people that are looking, or you see it on your main screen, that white coating is a telltale sign of thrush or of that Candida issue. And especially if it's chronic, if it doesn't go away, or it goes away for a bit and then it comes back, especially if you've eaten a lot of sugar, you've had excess alcohol, and you've fed that Candida, this may be one of those times that you would notice that it's worsening. Some of the other symptoms would be gas and bloating and digestive upset. Weight gain as well can be related to Candida. Also in the mental emotional sphere, so ADD and ADHD, and we see this in children. This is quite common when they have, they love the sweets, and again, this Candida overgrowth can affect how they can focus as well. Also itchy ears. So this, is, you may not have, and I always share things that you may not have heard before about Candida. So those people that, get the pencil in there, you're just not comfortable, and you always have your fingers in your ears, can be related to this Candida overgrowth. As well as irritability and mood swings, anxiety, depression. Again, this can affect the mental and emotional sphere and show that there's an imbalance there. Also joint pain, which you may not realize can also be related to Candida, skin rashes. And I promised I would talk about so remember I said at the top of the show that Candida gives off acetaldehyde, however you pronounce it. It's a bit of a tongue twister. So it's an aldehyde, and which is a chemical that, again, your Candida is giving that off. Well, perfumes are also aldehydes. So this is, if you have developed a sensitivity to perfumes, and I find, with my patients in the past, especially if it was a less sort of expensive type, a lower quality perfume, that they would really be aggravated by that smell and get headachy from the smell of that perfume. That's a telltale sign of Candida, because remember, you've got too much acetaldehyde in your system now from the Candida, and now when you are coming in contact with that type of aldehyde from the perfumes, then your body's going to react. So that's a telltale sign that maybe something you haven't heard before. As well as body odors. So yeah, if you've got bad BO, remember we have that microbiome on our skin as well, but bad body odor can also be related to that Candida. So I hope that you've learned something new, and I hope you've got some questions for me as well. Hello to everybody on TikTok, hello on Facebook, on YouTube. Nice to see all of you here, and hello to Martha, you're streaming in on YouTube. Nice to see you. Elsa and Michaela, hello. I hope I pronounced that right. So hi everyone, nice to see you. And Aisha, nice to see you on Facebook as well. And I'm sure we have a few people here on TikTok. So hello JJ, hello Sarah, hello. I know you've got a ton of questions coming in. So everybody on TikTok, stay tuned, because after the show, so after we're finished streaming live the Dr. Janine show, I'm going to hang on TikTok to answer your questions. So don't go anywhere, and make sure that you're staying tuned, because remember, we actually are giving away from our sponsors today. You're entered to win with the quiz questions. You're going to be entered to win a product, and we'll send that out for you you absolutely free. So yeah, nice to see all of you. Official Christian is here again. Hello, I see some of the regulars are streaming in. And JJ, we're getting on how to get rid of Candida. We're going to share that right now because we're talking about 8 tips that you can use to get rid of Candida once and for all. So tip number 1 is to detoxify. So remember I said that gliotoxin is one of the things that Candida gives off in our body, and this can affect our liver. So we want to do a full body detox at least a few times a year. So whether your Candida is active or not, we know that it can certainly come back. So, being proactive with detoxification is really, really important. And some of my favorite herbal medicines for detoxification include milk thistle, which is great for the liver, as well as dandelion. So the roots of dandelions are very cleansing to the liver, and the leaves are really great for our kidneys. So that's important as well. Parsley is great for the kidneys, helps to cleanse the blood, and also chlorella. So chlorella is a blue-green algae, and that is great for the heavy metal toxins. So remember, with the pollution, we want to make sure that we're ridding our body of those heavy metal toxins. So that's really important. So doing that full body detox, a combination of these herbs a few times a year is super, super important. I actually started my detox a couple days ago, and I love it. And that's the great thing about, doing the full body, is that you're not going to have those negative side effects, which can be associated with doing just one organ at a time in terms of detox. So if you want more information about that, we're going to share some links below as to the one that I take, and, a great way to detoxify a few times a year. Okay, number 2 on the list is probiotics to help with the Candida. So whether that's a supplement, which often you're going to have to go to a supplement to get enough of those active CFUs, or the colony forming units of those active probiotics, which are the good guys. These are our healthy flora that we need to have in our digestive tract. So taking a good quality supplement designed for your human digestive tract is important, but probiotic foods, of course, are important as well. So things like sauerkraut, which I love. I didn't love as a child growing up, in my mom being German. I didn't always appreciate sauerkraut, but now as an adult, I certainly do. So that's fantastic, as well as kimchi is great as well. Yogurt. So for people who don't know what kimchi is, it is very spicy. And again, it's fermented vegetables, and that's a Japanese tradition. But also the yogurt is great. So whether you're vegetarian, there is now, and you can make it yourself, coconut yogurts and things, so a more vegetarian source. But then, a good quality grass-fed organic dairy probiotic is great as well, as long as it has the live strain. So usually you want to go with, a higher quality probiotic yogurt when you're going to do that. And number 3 on my list is to get rid of those bad bugs. So to kill off the Candida itself, there are some great herbal medicines that help to do that. So I love oregano, and this is part of sort of a parasite kind of cleansing protocol. So oregano is fantastic, as well as black walnut is very, great at killing off those negative organisms, those bad guys. Cloves as well are really fantastic for parasites and their eggs, but also for the Candida. And another herbal medicine is called Artemisia, and this is called Sweet Annie, and that is fantastic as well, and it's actually known as an anti-malarial, but really great at killing off some of those bad organisms, and especially that Candida. So that's important. Okay, so number 4 on the list for the tips is dietary changes. So yes, getting rid of that sugar is really important. I talked about it a few times already, that the sugar really is one of those culprits. So you don't want to, go crazy with, really restricting yourself, especially if you have a history of eating disorders and things. So you want to definitely severely limit your sugar intake, especially if it's refined sugar. Now, getting away with having a bit of natural fruit sugar here and there, for some people is okay when they're getting rid of the Candida, especially if you're taking things like those herbal medicines, you're detoxing, you're doing all of the supportive things and the probiotics, you can get away with having a little bit of that sugar still in your diet. But again, it's important to really limit it. And sugar, let's be honest, is not a real food. You want to do your best to decrease that intake, because it's not a real food. And if you have a sugar addiction, make sure you check out my show all about sugar addiction here on YouTube, and that will really help to guide you you in the right direction when we're talking about, getting over that problem and what's going on in the brain in terms of that need for that sugar. Also, decreasing alcohol is always recommended when you're killing off the Candida. Also, decreasing yeast. So, a lot of bread and anything that's made with yeast. Again, with my patients, I always would decrease that intake, especially at the beginning. Eventually, you can go back to eating it a little bit. So don't worry, don't freak out about it. But you've got to allow that gut to repair. So getting rid of the yeasty foods at the beginning is important, and also increasing your fiber food. So lots of fresh vegetables is important. Raw is preferred, and other sources of dietary fiber. Sometimes people need to take a fiber source as a soluble fiber. I love psyllium seed husk. That happens to be one of them. So I promise I've got some great recipes that use the psyllium seed husk. So I promise that I'm going to share some of those in the near future. The life-changing bread, I believe, is on my Instagram. So if you are not yet following me on Instagram, make sure that you check it out, because it's absolutely delicious and has a lot of that psyllium seed fiber. It's great, and there's no grains. It's a great way to make sure that you're getting more fiber. Okay, number 5 on the list to help Candida is to boost your immune system. So one of the things that I love is doing cold therapy. So whether that's cold showers or cold dunks in a cold lake, I mean, these are things sometimes you have to work up to. I'm not saying to go jump in a cold lake right now if you haven't trained yourself and your body's not used to that. But having a cold shower is fantastic to be able to strengthen your immunity. Here, of course, we live in Canada, so for those of you that are chiming in from different parts of the world, I'd love to see where you're watching from. It's always so fascinating to me. But here in Canada, it is cold in the wintertime. So what I've been doing actually for the last couple of winters now is to get more comfortable with the cold. So actually taking off my coat when it's like minus 15 degrees Celsius outside, and just allowing myself to feel that cold. And that really is helpful for hormonal health, but really for the immune system. And that's what is, top of mind for so many people, given the global climate and everything that's happened in the last year. So yeah, allow yourself to get a little bit cold, and it goes a long way to really helping your immunity. But that, with your immune system, you need your immune system to be on point to help with the Candida as well. Tip number 6 is to take digestive enzymes. So what I discussed at the top of the show is that there's this biofilm coating that the Candida creates, and the more that it becomes that invasive type of Candida. So what you want to do is you want to break down that biofilm. You want to weaken the outer wall of that Candida, and that's what digestive enzymes help us to do. So that's really important. Not only do you need to be relaxed when you are eating your meal, so stress is a factor, and decreasing your stress, but you want to take digestive enzymes to really break down that biofilm, and goes a long way to helping. So I promise we'll share some links in YouTube. Of course, if you're streaming in on different platforms, this will exist on YouTube after the fact, so you can refer back to all the tips if you've missed something or you're just tuning in now, so that it's all archived there. Tip number 7 is to get enough sunlight. So yes, sunlight, you hear me talk about this probably in every episode of the Dr. Janine show. It is a remarkable healer. We cannot live, just like a plant can't live, most plants can't live without sun, the same for humans. So getting, reacquainted with the sun and getting that, especially the early morning light in our eyes when the sun is rising, is really important to set your hormones, to set all of your brain signaling for the rest of the day. It's really, really important for your overall health. And tip number 8 is the mental emotional aspect. So this is my tip, and if you've watched me before, I like to, shed some light on how our mind and body are connected. And what I have found to be true in most, if not all, of the Candida cases that I've ever seen is the relationship to parasitic infections and allowing yourself to be a host to parasitic invaders. So whether that is, the physical ones on the physical and chemical level, so that's the actual bugs themselves, the Candida, or if it's parasitic relationships and parasitic energy. And we all know, you know, probably you've come across some people that just have that type of energy, and they take from you, because that's basically what a parasite is something that's taking from you, and it's not helping you. And the same with Candida. So just think about that, because maybe that's, you know, that missing link that you haven't discovered before. Maybe you've been treating your Candida, you're not getting anywhere with dealing with your Candida. So that's something that I'd love to hear about in the comments, and also if you have experienced this, and if the light bulb just kind of went off for you, then yeah, this is often that missing link. So something that definitely needs to be addressed, and who you allow to be in your life, whether it's the actual physical bugs in your gut, the bad ones that we don't want, or if it's, you know, has to do with the people that you surround yourself with. And just think about that and maybe make some positive changes in that regard. So hello everybody. I just want to say a quick hello to, I know we have a ton of people here, so I hope that answered your question, JJ, about what and how to help your Candida, or for if you're helping somebody out. And Sarah, nice to see. Okay, there's some good commentary on the last fact I see here about yeah, parasitic relationships. So yeah, this is good. Hello, this is good. More than a conqueror, you're asking about. Yes, that could be a good source of fiber. So great to have you. And cilantro is also good. So user who had a question about cilantro also helps to chelate heavy metals. So that was really good. And dandelion, you can take it as a herbal medicine. We'll share some links in YouTube below to some great ways to get that as a full body detox. Hello to Angelica on YouTube. Nice to see you. I know that you're a regular, so thank you very much for watching. And also a question. Martha, great question. How about kombucha for probiotics? So yes, kombucha for most people is great in terms of Candida, helps to get some live active flora going in the gut. So yeah, that's a great question. And for most people, it's okay. Some people it's contraindicated, but for most people, the kombucha, and you're going to know. I mean, if you have kombucha a few times a week, I don't recommend overdoing it and maybe drinking it every day, but a few times a week, and see how you feel, and see how your tummy is feeling in terms of digestion, and of course any of the other symptoms that you may have had that was related to the Candida. Just see how you feel. Okay, so we are moving on now to natural treatments for psoriasis. So psoriasis is sort of in the same relationship family as Candida. You're going to see some cross-linking of the information here that we just discussed with Candida. So psoriasis is a skin condition. For anybody who knows, you know, if you suffer with psoriasis yourself, or you know somebody who has psoriasis, and this has to do with the skin cells having a really quick turnover, and typically it is turning over 10 times faster than what it should. So your skin is replaced basically every 10 to 30 days on a normal day, you know, cycle during the month. But with psoriasis, this is much faster, and it's being replaced every 3 to 4 days. And so the body is, you know, sort of hustling too hard to replace these skin cells. And it has a lot to do with the immune system, and that's why you're going to see when we get to the tips on how to deal with psoriasis, we're going to talk about immunity and connecting with the earth. But, you know, there's a buildup of these old cells that are being replaced by the new ones, and that's what creates that sort of gray scale that you can experience for people who have psoriasis. So let's talk about the causes. So some of the causes of psoriasis, again, coming back to that healthy microbiome. So the leaky gut syndrome and those tight junctions opening up in the gut can be a causative factor. So if you missed my show on leaky gut, make sure you check it out on YouTube. And it's all about leaky gut syndrome and what you can do about it naturally. That's really important. You've got to heal up that leaky gut. Some of the tips we'll touch on today. But yeah, having that healthy microbiome is everything, but there's different stages of dysbiosis, and as this gets worse, whether it's the Candida or other parasitic infections, it only gets worse as time goes on. And when it gets to stage 4, this is a big problem, and now it's harder to reverse. So that's why my tips are always, when I feed you all this great information about taking care of things, you don't want things to get to this end stage, this unhealthy, what I call the swamp. You want to be taking things, and paying attention to the symptoms that your body is giving you as time goes on, so it doesn't get to that end stage, because it's harder to fix the problem as it is to prevent it along the way. And usually your body's giving you different, symptoms along the way that this is going in the wrong direction. Okay, so one of the other causes is artificial sweeteners. So we actually found a study, and in this study what they found, and this is, known in functional medicine, and naturopathic doctors talk about this all the time, but yeah, the relationship with those sweeteners, artificial sweeteners, sucralose being the one that is probably the most popularly used, I would say right now, and that those non-sugar sweeteners have a bacteriostatic effect and basically changes the intestinal microflora in the gut. So not necessarily the best thing. And people that, you're maybe diabetic, pre-diabetic, or you're trying to lose weight and you go to the artificial sweeteners, and this can have a negative effect on your microbiome. And guess what? Well, now you're not going to be digesting your food properly because it's killing off some of your good flora. Now, you can have these difficulties with with weight loss, and this is a problem, right? Because you're staying away from the sugar maybe to lose weight, and it's the artificial sweeteners that are actually making you gain weight because now you have no good microflora. So just saying, if you've not heard this before, it's important that you have the right ecology of what's going on in the gut for the skin as well, because we know the skin and the gut are definitely related. Okay, so leptin resistance as well. So this can be related to psoriasis. So the whole chemical signaling that's happening in your brain and the rest of your body has a lot to do with leptin. So if you missed that show, make sure you check out my show on leptin resistance, and just ensure, I just want everybody to watch that show just to ensure that you don't have the symptoms and you're doing everything right so that you don't develop leptin resistance, because that's for most disease processes, one of the major causative factors as to why we get into autoimmunity and our immune system is compromised and we can run into these, types of conditions. Okay, stress. I mean, can I ever talk about a subject without, talking about stress and its relationship? We know that stress suppresses our immunity and can really be a causative factor for that psoriasis as well as pesticides, because again, we're killing off that good microflora. Hand sanitizer, same kind of deal with that I talked about with the Candida. The hand sanitizers can make the psoriasis work because now you're killing off the good flora. We need that balance of our good flora, and this is really important, as well as non-organic meat. So when meat, whether it's cow, so beef, or when the animals are mass produced and the way that they're raised, their feed unfortunately can contain some of these antibiotics and things which you've probably heard about. And then even in these micro amounts that we're ingesting in those foods, when they're not grass-fed, and healthy animals, so we're not so much what we eat anymore, we are what those things that we ate, if that makes sense. So we have to really be conscientious as to the source of where our foods are coming from. If you're not a vegetarian, if you are a meat eater, that this can have an impact on your gut health as well. Also, vitamin D deficiency can be related to psoriasis, and that's why a lot of, even at the beginning when doctors were treating psoriasis, what would they do? They would take their patients out into the sun, and the sun has that natural ability, of course, to heal up the skin. That's why I'm a big proponent of getting natural sunlight. Really, really important. And toxic light. So all of, that blue light that you've heard me talk about before as well, from our devices, from artificial lights, from the LED lights, from our computer screens, especially at night, is terrible. This is toxic light, and it really can influence the state of affairs with your skin and can really make the psoriasis worse, as well as as there are some mental emotional aspects that are related to psoriasis. So I'm going to get to that in just a second when I talk about the tips on how to help with psoriasis. But if you've not experienced, or you know somebody who has psoriasis, or you yourself have been through this, you know that you have the itchy and the scaly, irritated, dry skin that's turning over too quickly. It can be on the scalp, so that I know is really troublesome for a lot of people. It can be on the ears and around the ears. It can be guttate psoriasis, so on the buttocks, as well as on the elbows and the knees. And it's usually on the extensor surfaces, so it's on the outside. So if it's here, it's usually eczema. So this is the difference for people who don't know. Hey, I should do a post on this. This is good because people don't know this. So if it's on the inside folds, creases, that's usually eczema. When it's on the outside, that's usually the psoriasis. The same for the knees. So if it's on the back of the knees, it's usually eczema, and on the front of the knees, it's psoriasis. So it's a little bit different in terms of the causes, and the treatments, from my perspective, are often one and the same. You've got to, when I get to it now, we're going to talk about the microbiome and cleaning up the leaky gut, but also that natural sunlight exposure would be indicated for both of them. So really quickly, hello Natalie from Montreal, and Marie, nice to see you on Facebook. Also, yes, Lee was asking about coconut kefir for gut health. Absolutely love it, love it, love it, especially for vegetarians. This is a great way to go, whether it's for the psoriasis or for the Candida, and getting it from, a good quality, or if you're making it yourself, that would be even better. So that's fantastic. Nice question. I love your questions. Awesome, awesome. So let me talk now really quickly about the tips. So natural treatments for psoriasis. I have 9 tips, so stay tuned and don't go away, because our quiz is coming up in just a few minutes, and you'll be able to potentially win this from our sponsor at VitaTree. So yeah, we're going to send this out to our lucky winner. Okay, so the tips for psoriasis. Let's talk. Number 1. Sunlight exposure. You could probably guess. If you've watched me a few times, then you know that this is probably my favorite tip of all. And this is me on the front porch. This was actually a very cool day here in Canada. You can't tell because the sun is just so beautiful and so healing. But especially first thing in the morning, it's really important to set up your brain and to set up all of your hormones for the day to get and to see that sunlight. So if the sun is too bright and if it's uncomfortable, of course, you want to protect your eyes, then you just like in my picture there, you can see, just have your eyes closed and allow for that sun to be still penetrating your eyes right through your eyelids, but a great way to wake up in the morning. And if you're grounded at the same time, that's great as well. Tip number 2 is to do regular detoxification. So for psoriasis, this is really important, again, because of that heavy metal toxin load that can be in the body. So some of my favorite herbs, again, include milk thistle and dandelion root, again, parsley as well, which is very cleansing to the kidneys, and burdock root is great because it helps to cleanse the blood as well. So this works on the kidneys, but also helps to cleanse the blood, and we want to make sure that we are cleansing the blood when we do a full body detox, because the blood is that go-between our internal organs to make sure that we're cleaning up that environment between the organs as well. And another tip is DHA. So DHA is the omega-3 fatty acid from fish, and smaller fish are definitely better because they have less chance to accumulate those toxins in their fat. We know that, fish and toxicity go hand in hand. That's why sometimes, actually taking a fish oil supplement may be the better way to go for a lot of people, so that you can get that high concentration of that DHA. And this is important because humans don't make DHA. It's something that really needs to be supplemented from our diet, from the outside. And if you're not eating those fatty fish a few times a week, then you are deficient. And it's our brain food, but it's a natural anti-inflammatory, which is really important as well. Okay, tip number 4 is olive oil. So olive oil, I actually have a favorite type, and it's called Corona Kai. So in our description, I hope that we'll be able to spell it out for you, that you can look it up. It's not that easy to find because I had to purchase it online, and it's from Greece. But if you can find it, I haven't been able to find it in the grocery stores yet. But this is the highest. So the studies have shown that it has the highest amount of antioxidant property in the Corona Kai, and it's delicious. It's very sort of, when people describe olive oil, it has like a bittery kind of peppery kind of taste when it's a good quality. So this one is from Greece, but any olive oil, of course, if you can't find the Corona Kai one, any olive oil is really great, and you should be ingesting as much olive oil in its natural state, cold pressed organic, as possible, because it is just so healing, and for the skin as well. To do this internally to up your status of your healthy fats internally is really important for that inflammatory effect. Okay, number 5 is the topical treatment. So I'm going to mix something up for us right now. So this is something that you can use externally on your skin, which is great. So it has a couple of essential oils. So for those of you that are familiar with essential oils, but this is pure fractionated liquid coconut oil. So I like to use this in some of my topical beauty recipes, is a fractionated coconut oil, and because it's liquid. So we know that coconut oil in its natural state will solidify the colder the temperature. Here in Canada, ours is never liquid because it's always cold, at least in the wintertime. So that's why sometimes in my beauty recipes I'll use that one. So just a little bit of that coconut oil, but you could use a regular coconut oil as well. Just be mindful that it's going to solidify, so you may have to warm it in your hands before you apply it. And then I'm going to use about 5 drops of tea tree oil. So tea tree oil is very healing and soothing to the skin. So adding that in, and it does have a particular scent to it, so you may not want to put this on before you are going to the mall or shopping or out on a date. Are people doing that yet? I think, yeah, things are opening up here in Ontario. I'm very excited. But yeah, it has a distinct aroma, so you may want to do this at bedtime. And of course, one of my favorites, peppermint oil. So 5 drops of peppermint oil. And the amount, I know people are going to ask, how much coconut oil did I use? Probably about, I'm going to say 2 tablespoons. That's the amount that I have in here. And you just sort of swish that around. And the great thing about the combination, so both tea tree and peppermint oil, so let's say I have psoriasis here on the outside of my elbow, you can just rub that right on. And both tea tree and the peppermint oil have a bit of a tingle sensation to them, which for, a lot of people with psoriasis, this is very soothing. It doesn't last forever. It usually kicks in about 2 minutes after it's been on the skin, but is very soothing and just very satisfying. And the coconut oil itself is very soothing to the skin and healing it, and that combination is the combination that I like, because the tea tree helps to kill off some of those, bad organisms as well, because again, finding that right balance on the skin microbiome is important. So yeah, so try that out. I want to hear in the comments how that goes for you and how that's helping your psoriasis. I've seen, incredible results with this combination at, really getting the skin under control and some of that flakiness and that uncomfortable scaling under control, which is great. But of course, doing all the tips that I'm sharing for the psoriasis is important, because we have to think, yes, as much as we see it externally, we have to deal with the things internally and also what our body may be lacking in. So one of those things, which is tip number 6, is to make sure that you have enough zinc in your diet. So zinc is an important mineral that is in oysters, it's in shellfish, and in beef as well. So beef will also contain some natural zinc, and these are important to be able to heal the skin. So when we're deficient in zinc, one of the ways that you know that you're deficient, if you get those white spots on your nails, that's often a zinc deficiency. So again, your body's telling you, and that's what I share, your body's telling you and giving you some of the signs of these things being out of balance, but that's really important to make sure that your zinc status is where it should be. As well as tip number 7 is probiotics. So probiotics, again, whether that's from the coconut kefir that we heard from one of our viewers earlier, as well as, it could be a yogurt. And just, again, if you can, make sure that you're getting a grass-fed dairy, because it's the importance of what those cows are eating as well. That makes a big difference when we're dealing with psoriasis and for the Candida as well as sauerkraut, kimchi, all my favorite probiotic foods. But sometimes you may need to go to a supplement for probiotic as well, which is important to get the right number of those good guys in. So, and finding a probiotic that doesn't contain magnesium stearate is really, really important, because magnesium stearate is that flow agent that coats and goes on top of probiotics when they're trying to get them into the capsule, and will compromise the viability of those probiotics, and also your absorption, your ability to use them. And it's a chemical. So again, whenever we're putting chemicals in the body, it's not something that I usually recommend. Okay, tip number 8 is to increase your selenium. So selenium, we know, I talked about that in our thyroid show last week, is really an important source of, and the Brazil nuts are an important source of that selenium. So great for the thyroid health, but important for chelating heavy metals as well. So that heavy metal relationship with psoriasis and with the Candida. So selenium is one of those things that can help to trap those heavy metal toxins, and it's very healing to the tight junctions in our gut as well. And that's why selenium is one of my favorite, minerals, and from the whole food source. A great way to get in your selenium are the Brazil nuts. And tip number 9, so what you haven't heard in terms of psoriasis. So I'm going to share a couple of things that you may not have heard. So the late Louise Hay, I don't know if you've heard of who she is. She made all of these beautiful connections with and positive affirmations that you could say to yourself in the event that you had something going out of balance in your body. So she basically categorized, most of the diseases, and gave, an opportunity for you to learn the affirmation and say the affirmations. So her book, You Can Heal Your Life, it's great. It's a monumental, book that I think everybody in natural medicine, if you've not read it, you should have read it. But really a great, thing that you can go to, and a tool that you can use. So what Louise Hay said was that fear of being hurt is very much related to psoriasis. And so that is an interesting connection. Now, another one of the people that I have studied, a doctor from Germany, he recently has passed as well, but his whole thing was about separation conflict. So at the time of going through a mental emotional shock, Dr. Hammer said that, if there was a separation conflict between, the person with the psoriasis, and it could be between, a mom or a dad who left, or another family member, or you moved homes and being separated from friends, or even a pet died, that conflict shock trauma in the body could have then manifested itself as psoriasis. So again, just food for thought, things to think about, especially for people that are suffering with psoriasis or chronic, psoriasis, and you can't get a handle on it, and you can't, you've done all of the Candida cleansing, you've fixed the microbiome, you got rid of the stress, you took the zinc, you got the zinc foods, you did everything right, and you still can't find that natural relief. Well, that's often the mental emotional aspect is what needs to be addressed, and that's why it's important that we take a look at these things. Okay, so on YouTube, hello. Thank you, everyone who is tuned in. Hello to Dawn. Hello to Joyce. Hello, nice to see you. I know that you're a regular and you love to watch the show. Aisha, nice to hear from you. Aisha is asking if you have a growling sound after you eat, telltale sign of Candida and parasites. It's time to do a parasite cleanse. Yes, so that's really important, and that's a great question. That's usually the bugs, like I used to tell my patients, that's like the bugs are having a party after you eat, especially the wrong food. That it's a telltale sign that, and the technical term is called borborygmi. So it's quite a mouthful, but yeah, that's what it is, and it's not a good sign. So if you've got that party happening, those bad bugs are having a party, make sure that you're taking care of that. Okay, so TikTok, I want to say hello really quickly. I know that you probably have a ton of questions that have been streaming in the whole time. We are doing our best, so please, everybody on, okay, lectins, I've got questions. from Massachusetts. Hello, nice to see you. Ingi, nice to see you. And from Brazil, Indiana, nice to see you. This is so great that you're all here. Sarah, nice to see you. Afghan lady, nice to see you as well. So everybody on TikTok, make sure you stay tuned after the fact when we are finished the live show here. I'm going to hang on and answer your questions specifically on TikTok, so make sure you stay tuned for that. Okay, it's quiz time. All righty, this is what you've all been waiting for. So good luck, everyone. Be quick. Be quick to type your answers in so that hopefully I can see them, but my friends behind the scenes are also documenting everything that's happening here as well. So remember, even just try your best. Even if you don't know the answer, just say something, just blurt out something in your answers, and you will have the ability to win this. We will send this out to you for free. This is the Paravide from our sponsors at VitaTree, and this helps to kill off those bad organisms that we were talking about. Can be really, really helpful, and that's why we chose this one today. Helpful for psoriasis as well, which is awesome. Okay, so here we go. Is everybody ready? Question number 1. What is the name of a herbal medicine that can help detoxify the liver? What is the name of a herbal medicine that can help to detoxify the liver? I've mentioned it a couple times, even in today's show. So depending on when you streamed in, do we have any answers yet? And hello to everybody from Tennessee, from Atlanta. Nice to see you, everyone. Warrior Miller. Okay, yes, Vivian, you're correct. I'm not going to say it out yet. Vivian on TikTok is very quick. Annie Kens is also very good. More Than a Conqueror, you guys are quick today. Yes, yes, yes. More Than a Conqueror, yes. I'm going to say root or leaves. I'm going to be a little bit cheeky. Root or leaves, More Than a Conqueror for the liver. Courtney Lane, yes. Anybody else? Do I have any takers on Facebook? Any answers over there? Do we have any correct answers? I'm not sure. I can't see. Do we have my Facebook people? I can't see. Sorry, Facebook and YouTube. I can't see you yet. Okay, so the answers, there's multiple answers, of course. So the ones that I've talked about are milk thistle, dandelion root, but certainly a lot of your other, Frederick, yes, good, root. So I think you were answering More Than a Conqueror's. Yes, Official Christian. Yeah, you guys are right on top of it. Good. Lion's mane is also very good. Dandelion root, as I said. So congratulations, everyone. Beets are also good, Ralph. Yes. Good job. Yes, the leaf, so dandelion leaf, just for those of you who want to know, is more known for, it does work on the liver a little bit, but the leaves are more known for detoxifying the kidneys. So, okay, let's go on to number 2. Number 2, name a good food source of zinc. Does anybody know a good food source of zinc? Can anybody help me with the, I'm not seeing the Facebook and the YouTube. Thank you. Thank you so much. That's awesome. Thank you. I don't want to leave anybody out. Okay, so good food sources of zinc. You guys are fast. That's good. Yes. Yeah. Oh, Official Christian. Yes. Good, good, good. Yep. S5. Yep. Good. Yep. Courtney, good job. Good job. And let me see. On Facebook. Yes, Sandra, good job. Natalie, very smart. Aisha, very smart. Joyce, and very smart. Wow, Natalie, I have some good students here. You guys are just naturally smarter. You've been listening to me a lot. This is good. Joyce Ann, That's such a nice compliment. I'm glad that you love the show. This is awesome. Thank you so much for all of your comments. Please be sure to share along the way as well. Whenever you can share our content, it really does help the channel because, yeah, that's really great. Okay, so yes. So to anybody who said meat, beef, you were correct. Egg yolks have a little bit of zinc. Oysters are the #1 source of zinc, raw oysters. That's the way to go for the zinc. It's like off the charts. Beef chuck roast is also very high. So congratulations, everyone. Good job. You guys, everybody is very smart and on the ball this morning. So this is fantastic. Well, afternoon now here. And we have to go. I'm almost out of time. Okay, I got to be quick. Number 3, true or false? To fix your thyroid, you need proper functioning leptin. This is kind of a joke for anybody who's watched before. True or false? True or false? Proper functioning leptin for your thyroid. If you watched last week's show, is it true or false? Let's see. Yes, Tina, correct. Good job. Anybody else have the answer? Harvarinder, nice to see you. Yes, you are correct. Aisha, of course you're correct. You've been watching, I know, for weeks now. Rabbit, yes. Good job. Yes, everybody who's asking more questions right now, just stay tuned. After we're wrapping up this show on YouTube, I will stay on TikTok to answer your questions as best as I can. Okay, so Marie, good job. Yes, it is. I almost said it. Ross, you're correct. Golden F, you're correct. Yes, it is true. So your leptin needs to be functioning properly to have your thyroid work properly. So check out my shows from last week all about thyroid function. Whether it's hyper or hypothyroid, you need your leptin to be working properly, which again is secreted from your fat cells. You need to know this if you're trying to lose weight or if you're trying to gain weight even, that your leptin is under control. Okay, question number 4, true or false? Can dry skin, so dry skin can be related to low thyroid function. True or false? This is too easy, guys. True or false? Dry skin and is this related to thyroid? I see a lot of correct answers coming in. Good job, guys. Dawn, you're correct. Golden F, you're correct. I'm glad you love the shows. Thank you so much. That's so nice. You are streaming in on YouTube. Thank you, thank you. Yes, yes, yes. So it is true. So dry skin can very much be related to low thyroid function. So yeah, that's great, everyone. Congratulations. And last question for today. We're almost out of time. True or false? Artificial light at night is linked to thyroid problems. This is something we talked about last week in the thyroid show, specifically thyroid cancer. True or false? Artificial light at night is linked to thyroid cancer. Any takers? Even just guess. Kumar, sorry, incorrect. Hello, Uncle Kaboom. That's a great name. That's a great handle. Yes, Golden F, Ricky Fan, Dawn. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes. Anybody else on Facebook? Natalie, yes. Sandra, yes. Joyce Ann, yes. Harvarinder, yes. Great job, everyone. Yes, so this is why it's so important, that artificial light, you've got to make it dark at nighttime. And it's incredible. Your body will adjust, and once it's too bright, you'll freak out. You're not going to like the fact that it is bright. After the sun has gone down, we're supposed to be in darkness. Think of animals in the forest, and they even have too much light because of all the artificial light that we have from street lights in our homes and everything. So turn off the light at nighttime. You can use candles, you can use the flame from or minimize it. And what I've listened to recently and learned as well is that our photoreceptors, if you need to have lights on, keep them low. If they're from above, like when the sun, where the sun is coming, not good. If you need to have lights on, try to keep them low. Like, you know, in some hotel rooms, they have like the floor lights so that you don't trip and fall if there's a step or something in the hotel room. I don't know if you've noticed that before, but yeah, that's better for your health because your photoreceptors are looking for things above, and that's going to mess up all of your hormones. So anyways, that's it, guys and girls. Thank you for tuning in. Remember, stay tuned on TikTok. I'm going to hang on and answer a lot of your questions. I know there are a ton of questions came in, so I'm going to help you out over there. So make sure you stay tuned even after I say goodbye here to our main streaming here on YouTube and Facebook. And if you've got questions, please leave them in the comments, especially, you know, on the platform that you streamed in on. Hello to everyone in Instagram Live. I hope that worked out today. I'm not even sure if it did. As well as keep me posted in the comments how you're doing. So I want you to use the tips that I shared today, whether it's for psoriasis, for fatigue, you know, if you've got anything related to the Candida issue going on, I want to hear from you. I love to hear how you're doing because it's incredible. People watch, you know, the videos and the content that I put out, and then I hear that you're getting better and you're doing better and you started to take some positive steps for your own health. And that, honestly, it means the world to me. So please also share my videos. It does a lot to really help to allow us to keep coming to air and to keep putting all the content together for you to be able to support us. That would be great. And a big thumbs up. I truly appreciate it. So sharing and thumbs up is great. If you're new here as well, please make sure that you're subscribed to my channel. So whether it's on YouTube, also check me out on Instagram. We have different types of posts happening everywhere, and I try to, you know, give little tidbits of information. Certainly YouTube is where you're going to see this. It's going to be archived, so you can rewatch this episode. And always remember to take good care of your health and to do it naturally. Thanks for joining me today.